Hello, YouTube. Got some good news here for you. It's kind of sick, but hey, it's good news.
11 children rescued from the nightmare of sex trafficking right here in Metro Detroit.
It's part of a nationwide sweep.
Local police departments in nearly a dozen communities, plus state police and federal agents teamed up to save the kids and arrest the adults who sold them for sex.
7 Action News reporter Brianne Palmerini standing by live tonight with a look at this crackdown. Brianne?
Well, Stephen and Carolyn, from the FBI to state police to all of these local departments here in the metro area, they recovered 12 kids here in Michigan and arrested 8 traffickers. And FBI officials say that number is higher here than in other states, but they say it's due to the investigators' hard work. Child sex trafficking. It doesn't sound like something that could be happening in your neighborhood, but sadly, that's not the case. It can happen everywhere.
It doesn't discriminate, Every one of us are susceptible.
It's not only happening in the city or the rural areas or even just suburban areas.
There's not any one particular location.
The sex trade industry finds weaknesses in victims. In the past, FBI officials say victims were coerced through force, but things have changed.
Now they're just using drugs like opiates that are getting them addicted, and that addiction is so strong that they're willing to do just about anything to get to that next high.
In this recent effort called Operation Cross Country 11, investigators worked casinos, hotels, and truck stops. 12 kids under the age of 18 were found trapped in sex trafficking here in Michigan. The youngest here was just 14.
These are the types of issues that are very emotional. When it comes to kids and women and children in this type of, modern day slavery.
Tim Wiley, the public relation officer for the Detroit FBI office, says finding these kids and beginning an investigation that can track down these trafficking rings comes down to help from the community.
If you see something, say something, because we're going to do something. And that's what people really need to know about.
Part of this nationwide effort and part of the efforts here locally is helping to get these kids back on their feet now that they've been recovered, helping them get a new family, helping them get a second chance. And the FBI, state police, they're working with a lot of local agencies to help make that happen now. Live in Oak Park, Brianne Palmerini, 7 Action News.
Good luck to the Brianne. Thank you so much for the report tonight. Shocking case just coming to light in Polk County. Deputies catching one of their own in a human trafficking sting.
Yeah, and all new at 6, ABC Action News reporter Andrea Lyon reveals the operation that captured nearly 300 people.
It's the power of sex.
The largest prostitution sting in Polk County history.
It gets you arrested. It ends your career.
Taking down 277 people.
We don't put up with this debauchery.
Among the hundreds of faces on the wall,
I'm embarrassed to tell you about this next one.
one of the sheriff's own sergeants, Luis Diaz. He worked with the agency for 17 years.
He apologized for putting us in that position and immediately resigned from the sheriff's office.
Detectives say Diaz made a deal, $100 for sex.
We are absolutely, unequivocally embarrassed, but this is a clear indication everybody's held accountable.
But investigators didn't find just criminals during the 6-day sting.
Identified 5 potential victims of human trafficking.
Something that has been occurring for a very long time. It's one of the very oldest crimes that we have, unfortunately.
Jody Bennett works with the Porch Light in Lakeland, helping trafficking victims. We asked what to look for and how to spot trafficking in your own community.
They're not going to have very many items, but if they do, they may be carrying them with them. It might be backpacks, small luggage.
Bennett also says victims often look disheveled or dirty and don't get much sleep.
Such sells. It's the most powerful thing in the world, and it brings down kingdoms.
A historic sting to not only spot criminals.
My heart breaks for the wives of these guys.
But save those who may need help.
Every child in this community has a right to feel comfortable, and every parent has a right to feel comfortable that their children can be safe.
In Polk County, Andrea Lyon, ABC Action News.
All new at 6, an international crackdown on a child sex trafficking ring hitting close to home tonight. Investigators in Southwest Florida joining forces with the FBI to save dozens of children from a life of slavery. The Lee County Sheriff's Office has played a critical role in this federal investigation known as Operation Cross Country. The FBI says it constantly exposes the grim fact that kids are being sold for sex in our country and in Southwest Florida. 4 New Corners, Carl Fortier, explaining what's being done locally to protect children from such a heinous crime. Carl?
Well, Southwest Florida ranks as one of the top areas in the country for human trafficking. While none of the suspected traffickers was arrested here in this latest operation, an abuse counselor I spoke with says getting any one of them responsible behind bars saves their victims from a painful life. It's called Operation Cross Country, an ongoing nationwide effort by law enforcement to fight underage human trafficking. This year, 120 human traffickers were arrested across the country, saving more than 80 victims from modern-day slavery.
But our primary goal is really to recover children, and then not only from the recovery standpoint, but providing them victim services to get them back home or back integrated into society.
The Lee County Sheriff's Office is one of several partner agencies, along with the FBI office in Tampa, participating in Operation Cross Country. The Tampa FBI office says from their local operations, one of those victims has been recovered, and 3 trafficking suspects are now in custody.
When you sit with a victim of human trafficking and you see what they are being put through, like a 24-hour a day for us goes like this. A 24-hour a day for somebody who's being put through that is, a living hell.
Fort Myers counselor Liana Calderine has worked with many human trafficking victims and says it's a success when even one victim is saved.
When we're talking about human life, when we're talking about quality of life, definitely a little drop would make a difference.
In this year's Operation Cross Country, nationwide 120 suspected traffickers were arrested, 84 children were recovered. The average age of those victims is 15. In Fort Myers, Carl Fortier, Fox 4. In your corner.
Some parents are quite worried about taking their child to the doctor after a Wesley Chapel pediatrician gets caught in a sex sting. ABC Action News reporter Julie Salomon is live in Wesley Chapel tonight with more on this. Julie, I know patients this morning deputies arrested their doctor.
And we spoke to several moms tonight. One mother was bringing her child here to an appointment after hours, and she pointed out she no longer sees that doctor's name listed on the front door.
That's a good thing.
Well-mannered, and he spoke very slowly, like you're supposed to do as a doctor.
Amber Stibbs pulled out her son's prescription bottle. The doctor listed on it, the same doctor arrested in a prostitution sting.
I couldn't believe it, so I had to check the prescription, and sure enough, it was the same doctor.
He's the last person she expected to hear about from Sheriff Grady Judd.
He works at Pediatric Health Care Alliance in Wesley Chapel. His name is Salil Jacob.
And he's not the only doctor facing charges. Judd says Dr.
both look
Douglas
like fucking
Fox is a
perverts.
cancer surgeon at Tampa General, whose anger at a girlfriend got him arrested.
And his girlfriend was messing around on him, so he wanted to get even with her.
The sheriff says deputies arrested more than 200 people in the 7-day sting, including teachers, pharmacists, doctors, and one of his own.
I'm embarrassed to tell you about this next one because we caught one of our own sergeants.
Sergeant Luis Diaz, a 17-year veteran, offered $100 for sex. Tonight, he resigned from the sheriff's office.
Oh my gosh, I'm like, what is this world coming to? I don't understand.
Where it's coming, it's been there for a long time.
And the sheriff pointed out that deputy never ended up going to the house for sex, likely because he recognized the voice of the undercover officer over the phone. Reporting live in Wesley Chapel, Julie Salmon, ABC Action News.
A disturbing story out of Macomb Township tonight. A couple behind bars accused of keeping a handicapped woman in their shed and forcing her to perform sex acts for money. It happened at the Westbridge Manor Mobile Home Park in Macomb, and that's where we're told the suspects lived.
Tonight, neighbors say they had no idea any of this was going on. 7 Action News reporter Brianne Palmerini joins us live now from Macomb with what police are saying tonight. Brianne?
Well, Dave and Glenda, I am here in the Westbridge Manor neighborhood. This is the home where the suspects lived with their 3-year-old daughter, and this is the shed they were accused of forcing a woman to live in, and neighbors are simply stunned.
Like I said, I have no words for it because there's no words
How
to
the fuck
express
do you
what
not
she
see
did.
that there's somebody
Tracy
living in
Byers
the
has
shed
lived
there?
here and known
It's
30-year-old Misty George
Oh my
and her
God.
boyfriend, 38-year-old Michael
Are you
Welch, for
fucking people
more than
blind?
5 years. She talked to them often, texted, drove them places, friends on Facebook. Byers said she never saw the victim. Others in the neighborhood didn't know anything like this was happening, but got bad vibes from George.
She was strange, but not strange to the point where you should call anybody or report her or anything.
According to the Macomb County Sheriff's Office, George and Welch were forcing a 29-year-old mentally and physically handicapped woman to stay in their shed. They wouldn't allow her in to use the bathroom or shower. They took out ads online, and several men responded and paid money for sexual services from the victim.
To find out that she was keeping somebody in a shed? How does somebody not know? I don't even understand it. Especially how close we are to each other. The houses are close. Somebody had to see something.
The pair was charged and arraigned. During the exit from the courthouse, Welch did try to escape. Deputies caught him once again. The pair is facing human trafficking and prostitution charges.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I feel so bad for that woman. And I feel so bad for their daughter, who's so little.
I talked with many neighbors tonight, even those living directly next door, and they say they did see another woman here sometimes, but they had no indication that she was being held in the shed against her will. They thought she was simply visiting. Live in Macomb Township, Brianne Pomerini, 7 Action News.